so I am going to call the meeting to order for him until he gets here. So, I will call to order the September 19th, 2024 Master Plan meeting. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So, we will start with public comment. Come on, Mr. Rugg. If you're out there, you must have something to say.
I'm not going to offer any advice or anything. You guys are your own separate committee. And when you present to the planning board, we will start asking questions then. So.
He should come up.
Fantastic.
The majority of the
Are you
committee is on the planning board. I don't think there'll be any big problems.
perfect? Jeff, welcome. I'll give you the reins, sir. We are at public comment.
Excellent. Did we do the Pledge of Allegiance?
We did.
Okay, excellent, great.
He did it very
Awesome.
well, by the way.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Is there anybody else for public comment?
Did we start too early?
Hey, Ray.
Hi.
You have something to say.
Well, I always do. Yeah, Ray Breslin, 3 Gary Drive. I've got another meeting to go to, but I want to thank you all for what you do in regards to looking at this master plan, updating it, and continue with your good work. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Appreciate that.
Ray,
Where are you going?
have a good meeting.
Huh?
Have a good meeting.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Thank you, Ray.
We got a budget meeting. Wait a minute. We got another meeting.
Budget committee's at the library, if you're looking for that one.
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
Yes.
they're doing a tour over there, so, yep.
Okay.
You'll get your steps in.
And then we got another one. What's the other one?
Morrison.
Oh,
Morrison House.
the Morrison House.
Yep.
Yes. A lot of things going on.
Town's got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you,
you.
Ray. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 3, reviewing and approving minutes. Any discussions on our minutes?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of September 5th, 2024.
I have a motion to approve minutes from September 5th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Oh, no.
Abstain.
Abstain?
Abstain.
I'll abstain.
So we have 4 abstentions, and we don't have a secretary, do we?
We do not.
No, you don't have a secretary tonight.
I guess the vice chair will vice secretary, sir.
I will appoint the vice chair to collect all of these notes and other administrative board work minutes. Appreciate that.
Not a problem.
All right. And just for Jake's records, could those that abstain, we have Sean, Lynn.
Me, Sean, and Lynn.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Moving on to the community survey, latest response numbers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Jeff. I'm Suzanne. I think I
Hey,
introduced
Suzanne.
myself to everybody. Suzanne Nienaber, Principal Planner with the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. I'll be sitting in for Sylvia tonight because she's on a well-deserved vacation right now and is out of the country in Germany. I know. We're all jealous, so she left all the fun stuff for us. So she had mentioned to me before she left that there was a goal among this committee to hit 1,000 survey responses. And guess what? Today was the day you surpassed it. So congratulations. What I did
fantastic.
this morning was actually, and as of this morning, let's see, I did a little look at who has responded so far, because I think it's really helpful when you get to this point in the process to think about how to target your outreach to groups that might be underrepresented.
Yes.
So I'm going to pull up a quick presentation. Okay. Oh, hello.
I remember Sylvia saying that we would be lucky to hit 400.
You all did amazing. By the way, was there like a big social media push just in the last 48 hours?
Yeah.
That's what did it. I think we had like 250 just
That's
very
awesome.
recently.
Yeah.
So that,
Awesome.
keep it up. That's whatever you're doing it right. Keep it up. So as of 9 a.m. this morning, we had 997 online responses. And I still have on my desk at least 30 paper copies that we need to input. We're kind of waiting until we have all of them returned, and we're going to have one of our interns just do them all in one fell swoop. So I was like, I think we're gonna meet our goal today, and we did. I think when I left, probably around 3 to go to another meeting, I wrote it down. It was like 1,023 online responses. So
It's awesome.
Wow.
it's a really nice pace happening right now. So I just pulled a few of the questions that were related to the participant profile so we can just get a sense of who's responded so far. So there was a question about your relationship to Londonderry, asking folks to check all that apply. As you can see, you have a solid, 98.5% of folks who do live in Londonderry as full-time residents, with a handful of seasonal residents, a small number of business owners, and a small number of people who are not a resident of Londonderry. I will mention that I was at the senior breakfast last week, and there were some folks there who weren't residents, and I encouraged them. I was like, if you're coming to Londonderry, spending time here, taking advantage of, and spending time at the senior center, your opinion, we're also interested in your opinion. So I was really encouraging everybody to answer. Not that we have inputted those yet, but we put that in there because people who are spending time or maybe volunteering in Londonderry, we thought it'd be great for them to respond to. When we asked, where do you live? It's actually a really nice split right now across all parts of town. So really, central Londonderry has the most, but I would say you have a really nice geographic distribution of where the responses are coming from. In terms of housing status, we have a 90% of people who are responding who are homeowners, and then other portions who are either renting or living with friends and family or other. And I just quickly scanned the other remarks, and a lot of those folks were maybe living in assisted living facilities. There was a question about how long have you lived in Londonderry? And this is very common among a master plan process. People who are the long-time residents are very invested in the community and are a bit more likely to fill it out. As you can see, as you get down to like less than a year, this is tiny slivers for people who do not live in Londonderry. But if there's a way to capture people who are new residents, that could be an interesting group to target. What is your age group? And this is also pretty common as well, where it skews a bit older. So as you can see, the plurality of respondents are, over age 45. The majority of respondents, which are 45 or 65 or over. And we're going to have this later on the agenda, but talk about some specific opportunities for engaging high school students. And then lastly, I think it's always nice for folks to know, at the very end of the survey, there's an optional question of, are you interested in staying involved? Would you like to provide your email address? And right now we have 282 individuals who have provided that information, which is a pretty good pool to be drawing from for any ongoing engagement, workshops, etc. Cool, and that's it. Any questions? I'm happy to answer those related to the data.
No, Suzanne, thank you for actually kind of generating that summary. I think that's going to be helpful as our discussions for this evening progresses. I'm incredibly happy that we're over 1,000 right now. How does that kind of from a standpoint of other towns and other communities that have engaged master plan process that Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission's worked with, how does that compare to those communities?
It's a good number, absolutely. Yeah, I think you should be very pleased with that. I think given the fact that we've had actual burst of momentum over the last 2 days, I would say there's still more folks to capture. So, in some communities around this time, you're like, the answers are starting to trickle in. And the fact that we've had just a flourish of activity over the past day or two means that let's keep it moving. And if we're trying some new things around social media, let's keep doing that. So I think we're in a good place to say 1,000 is fantastic, and like we can continue to, get as many folks as possible
Absolutely.
engaged.
No. Any other questions, Suzanne?
I have just one, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Do you happen to know, Suzanne, in terms of population split in Londonderry, do we have a heavier population of 45 to 64 and 64 and over? Do those numbers balance out in terms of the survey response?
Yeah, that's a great question that I don't have off the top of my head in terms of how it susses out within the region. My sense is that I don't think Londonderry stands out as having a wildly outlying demographic breakdown compared to the rest of the region. And what I've seen from other surveys is that we do tend to get more responses in the 45 and up. So some part of it might be like kind of you're looking at your demographic base. Part of it is that
Correct.
sometimes folks who are like young adults or like have young kids at home simply do not have the bandwidth to be kind of responding to surveys in the same way. So if there is a way to start to target like young adults and young families that we think could be more effective, I do think that is a group that tends to be underrepresented in these surveys.
Yeah, and I also think just the way the town has both on the school side, the community's been surveyed a lot in the last like 3 weeks for a variety of
For multiple things.
multiple things.
Right.
So seeing that number is really kind of encouraging, and I'm really happy that the community's is providing us that feedback, and very much looking forward to digging into it. Any other questions for Suzanne?
I think it certainly shows that there is an interest through the residents of Londonderry about a master plan, that's for sure, or an updated master plan. It certainly shows that the citizens are very interested and want their feedback included.
And one final note, I'll make this as kind of part B of the community survey. Something I'd like to just put on the table, plant a seed for consideration, and we can talk about it more at the end of this meeting, is should we extend the survey closing date? Because right now, according to what we've stated publicly, it's scheduled to close a week from tomorrow. There's the potential to extend it another week, and that could be more effective, especially with capturing some of the student input as well.
Do we have an arrangement with the school to do some event?
So I'm gonna speak here and I don't know how many other people know this, and I don't know all the logistics. We can't survey students.
Yes. Well,
So, right,
At the school?
at the school.
I actually, this is a little bit of a, it got misplaced in the agenda.
You can't what?
You can't give surveys, the way that kids can be surveyed in school, there's very strict laws around it.
Right.
I actually was talking to a teacher about this, and they were saying, what a great opportunity, civics class. I don't even know what it was actually, but during voting day, and we hit the table, and they were like, oh, the class was walking by, oh, we should have them fill out the survey, and they were like, we can't. And I was like, okay. I wasn't there, but this is what a teacher was telling me. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
all the laws, but I don't know how you roll it out to students.
Okay.
If we're able to jump ahead in the agenda, I could speak to that a little bit because I just had a call.
Sure, yeah, it's
Okay.
actually
Yeah.
the next point in the survey closing date,
Well, we can just take a
Yeah.
vote on that, or
Yeah.
just decide.
and then extending
should
through
just-
October
Yeah.
4th.
Oh,
on the
I say
closing
vote on
date.
the extension, yeah.
Okay, if you'd like
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the closing date.
So yeah, let's start with the closing date. Anyone against extending it another week?
No.
No, I don't think that I would want, I think we should certainly have, is it a week or 2 weeks, but what I don't want is to continue to extend it, because it is ultimately slowing down anything we're trying to make. I think granted the amount of momentum we have, it absolutely warrants putting it out another week. But I don't know that I would go much further than that, just because ultimately, you kind of get to the point of
Yeah,
where are we in our process, and,
Right.
how does it affect us trying to move along and in the next step after the survey,
You need a
And-
motion then to extend, or we just extend it?
No, we can take a motion
Okay. Just
as
asking.
well. And I agree with Jake. I think because we have the survey, we have the results, we have a good sample. We also need to start to kind of put the chapters together. We also need to, before we even get to there, do focus groups, do all that other stuff for these 3 points. Then we have another survey that will be coming out. So,
Mr. Chair, could I make a motion to extend the current survey to October 4th, 2024?
Second?
I thought that was the date
was laughing, I
anyway.
thought I didn't need a
October
motion.
4th is the current date.
No.
No.
Oh,
No,
no.
27th is
27th.
the current date.
Oh, I thought it was the 4th. I'm sorry.
no, Bob, I did say we need a motion.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry. I
Yes,
didn't
I'm
hear you.
sorry. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Chair votes in the affirmative. Excellent. So we'll definitely extend that to the 4th.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just I sent something to all the school principals to get up on their marquee, because
Yes.
we had discussed, put something up that showed the last week, and so the words we gave them all say that. So if I were to suggest, no issue with extending, obviously, but maybe what we could do is just leave it in place now, and then announce the extension like next Friday. Okay, that way it looks like a special extension for whatever, basically to reach students and younger folks. or
Did you get a lot
audience.
of good feedback from principals about putting
I
that
got
message?
3 have responded that they'll put it up. I also gave them I think it's the previous email blast to see if they would send something out. One responded that he would send something out to the parents.
Okay. Great.
They have communications, I think. I don't know.
I have, I was actually gonna say, I've seen nothing. So I have 2 schools that I get emails from and haven't heard anything. I would recommend, and I didn't reach out to the superintendent because I didn't know if Mike did. I would recommend him do an email blast like he did for the recent kindergarten survey. And maybe, I don't know what your thoughts on high school students, but we could add a blurb saying, hey, parents, this is a great opportunity for some of your older students to fill this out as well, letting them know that they can. But so the weekly communications are great, that they come a lot from the principals, and oftentimes parents scan them. If you have children in school, if you have children in multiple schools, you're looking for 1 or 2 things. It might make people fill it out more. I don't know, whoever has children in schools, when the superintendent says something, I'm like, oh, what's this about? It just might flag it easier, and it covers everyone. Just a thought.
Lynn, we've made contact with Deanne previously. Do we want to kind of follow up with that action of just work with Christina to maybe kind of with that message?
Sure.
Lynn and Christina, have you guys met?
Just
We
not-
did.
Excellent.
Before the meeting.
Yeah, I'm pretty involved in the schools and have been
Yeah.
for a while. So I don't mind communicating with.
Yeah, and a few
Whoever
weeks
needs
back,
it.
we made contact with Chairman Slater and Superintendent Black. I think just with everything that's been going on with the school and and kind of the key decisions they've made there, now is probably a good time to just kind of re-engage and ask them to kind of push
Just file
that.
for 5 minutes after the meeting.
Sure.
Okay, so we've officially extended to October 4th. John, to your point of kind of, I just did make a public announcement, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
There's also a note here, potential to capture additional student input. We had that conversation. Suzanne, did you want to kind of update us on where you and Sylvia kind of landed?
Sure. So the student input piece, Sylvia had a sidebar conversation with Suzanne Johnson. I think the last time or at some point when she was in Londonderry. I know she's here frequently. And Suzanne, myself, got in touch just earlier today to talk about a little strategy around how to get her civics class just involved in learning about the master plan process and, potentially contributing to it. Suzanne is very aware of the regulations
Yeah, I don't
around
know
surveys, knows exactly who to talk to, like at the district office, to see what questions they can answer and what questions they can't. And she was very clear that like none of the participant profile questions can be answered by students. Those are off the table. But if they wanted to weigh in on other aspects like the vision or something like that, that should be okay. But she told me she was going to confirm on that. So the last, we both were very, like, we had a mind meld. We were both like kind of thinking the same thing in terms of how to orchestrate some student engagement. The idea is she teaches 4 sessions of civics courses throughout the day. There are 2 back-to-back in the morning, one at 7:20 and one that goes till 9. And her idea was that what if we combine the first 2 classes in sort of an in-school field trip where we talk about, I'll be the guest speaker, give some background on what is planning, what is a master plan and why is it important, and how are we creating this update, and then give everybody 10 minutes or so to answer whatever portion of the survey they have authorization to have students answer, so that we would actually get that student feedback. Then we would do a mapping exercise just so that they can start to weigh in on some of the kind of places they love in Londonderry. It will be really, really simple exercise, but places they'd like to see improvements. And we can start to get student feedback on those issues. And then if possible, and this is again a question that she's going to run by the principal and up the chain as needed, we would propose, because I've told her I'd be available next Thursday, we could get the students excited about getting the word out among other high school students to provide input on the sections that they can and see what they could gather and take responsibility for kind of participating in the outreach. Susan was in touch with Mike. I saw that email chain as well. And he's available to come into their classroom on the 4th of October. Like, that would be our closing date. So potentially the students could report out, like, here's who we talked to, here's what we learned, and they would have a chance to kind of share how they helped contribute to gathering input for the master plan. So that's our loose sketch. None of it has approval yet, but it's something that she's interested in, and I think it'd be a really fun opportunity.
I just want to add to that also at the high school, other than the civics courses, there are higher level government courses that kids are taking instead of civics.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I think that you should hit those classes as well.
Okay.
So I agree. I think this is actually a perfect opportunity, timing-wise, for students to kind of learn about town government with the auspice of the master plan. I think kind of understanding what that is, and what the goals are, and where they can how the community's involved with its input, how we're building it, and such like that. My biggest concern is that survey piece.
Yes.
And I'm going to say that not necessarily collecting feedback, but potentially collecting feedback in the backdoor way. One, I think if we're collecting the information and we're asking them to put in this survey that's going on, I think that's going to skew some numbers, or it's going to make the analysis potentially a little bit more difficult. I think, though, that there's an opportunity for kind of those focus groups. And I think that right there, kind of collecting that information after the survey closes even, would also be incredibly beneficial. So that's kind of, I'm just a little nervous, and I also don't want to kind of have the perception out there that we're surveying students, but we're not surveying students type thing. And sometimes that can go a little out of control, and I don't want to bring negative attention towards this process. That's just my opinion, but go ahead, Christina.
I was gonna second that. I don't remember all the questions on the
Yeah.
survey, but I agree when you were talking about we won't have them answer this. I'm like, okay, are they giving them a hard copy without that piece of paper? because we can't give them the link then, right? Because we can't tell children not to answer questions, because if they have the ability, that's when I think they get into trouble, the school, meaning.
I see.
And asking other kids to go do the survey again, if they're like, hey, there's a link out there, go find it, that is now coming from the school. I think the focus groups are fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I think you could say, I mean, you'd need approval. Hey, look, there's this survey. Your parents will get the link. You can ask them for it to take, and maybe the parents don't want their kids to take it. But I'm kind of with you that we're not giving them the full survey because we can't by laws of the state of New Hampshire. And, you know, just with bringing people in, and I don't know if they call it a field trip, but just there's the new rules that you all have to be fingerprinted and cleared with the school. So just things that I don't know if you would need that.
She did not mention.
So
fingerprints.
she might not know. A lot of, all right, I'm going to say this. A lot of the high school teachers don't
Don't know.
really know because parents aren't as involved.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure
Okay.
if that applies, but I'm just warning you that you have to go through the
Sure.
police station and fill out an application and to be able to go volunteer, but maybe where it's a field trip, you're covered under something else. How they, just a warning on things that, but that would be kind of a little bit of my concern as well.
I have previously gone into government classes, and as a speaker, that the teacher invited me to come in, and I didn't have to go through that process.
Into the last year?
Did
Last year?
I didn't do it last year.
It started last year. So it's
Ah.
new, started last year, anybody, and I don't know all the rules, I just know from
Okay.
being in the school that there's that, and that was actually another state thing, I think. I don't know if you guys know, I've been through it.
Good, that's a good
So,
thing.
yeah,
Okay.
that's a great point there.
I just don't want us to get in trouble by like thinking or
Of course.
something happening and,
Kids are not really into kids anyway.
what?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, some of the questions we have, to be honest with you,
They're not going to
aren't aimed at kids anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you want the town to grow density-wise? I mean, if I'm a 15-year-old, even aspiring to be an architect, I don't think I could answer that. So I think we have to be also realistic about what's in this initial survey and what really, I'm all for reaching out, all for all of that, but it's a reality as to what we're really asking that are very adult-oriented questions. And while I have the mic, I want to read the makeup of the town. According to the 2020 census, 25% are under 20, so a lot of young kids. 7.5% 20 to 24. We don't have a lot of colleges or universities here. We don't have any. 20 to 24. 22.5% in the 25 to 44. 33% more or less in a 45 to 64. That's right in line with what you showed. And 15% 65 and older. So I think when you look at that, when I came in late, I'm sorry, that's pretty much in line with what you showed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the one thing when we talk about reaching out to younger people, I agree with Bob. It's not necessarily like, juniors in high school. It'd be more that 18 to 45 gap. I'd like to see some of those people, and we're not going to hit those by going to the school.
Right.
And I don't know really the answer for that, but
Right.
that's where I'd like
Well,
to
you
see the
could,
gap.
because those are the parents of some of these kids.
Yeah.
And I think
So that actually might, if they have an older brother or sister or something like that, then that might be
Yeah.
helpful.
And again, Mr. Chair, I'm not saying we shouldn't reach out to the kids. I'm just saying, I looked at a survey again yesterday. They're adult questions, and I'm just being realistic, not exclusionary.
I think I really like, oh, go ahead, Martha.
That there may be sections as we move along in this process that would be more geared toward
towards
that
a
age
younger
group.
age, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you, exactly.
So based on what was just said, should the target be the PTAs rather than the students?
Yeah,
That would be
Because
a
I-
We
good
definitely
target.
target the PTAs.
Because I know there's, for example, at
Yeah.
South School, I know there's an active PTA.
yeah,
They're
Very
active in
active.
all the schools.
Yeah.
they
very
are.
active.
So how do we get at those?
I handed out 20 things
once
to the
tonight,
PTA for Moose Hill the other day.
What?
I handed out 20 survey things to the Moose Hill PTA the other day. It was
I
the
also-
biggest PTA meeting
I
in
was
like
just gonna
history
say,
of Moose
PTA
Hill. Yeah.
Meetings themselves have what, 10 people at them? I had it sent out to the whole lacrosse, youth
That
lacrosse
was what I was
community.
going to say is focus on the sports
And I
communities,
have a
band
couple
community.
more ones that I just need to send to their heads and ask them to send out to their sports, but I got it, so I know it was sent out. I think we need to email Dan Black
Yeah.
and ask him to send it out tomorrow. I think that's gonna be your heavy
Yeah,
hitter.
and continue to kind of, as we, definitely discussed the last meeting, continue to drive, our groups. I'm very close with the president of the South School PTA. She is my wife. So she,
Hopefully she's filled out the survey.
she's filled out the survey and has shared it. But this evening they had a parent social, ice cream social, or an excellent, well-run event, where I was fortunate to get the approval to have the survey at the registration table. So I had to kind of go through and give a presentation to the PTA board on what the master's survey was and why it's important. So glad my wife made me do that. But it was good. So there might be some more surveys coming from there. But to the point of, we all have groups in town. Let's definitely leverage them. We have two more weeks to kind of be unique.
Hammer it home.
And kind of get it out. And I think as the sharing of the social media posts kind of really kind of really increased the participation the last 2 days. We've got over 400 responses. I think before we started posting on Tuesday evening, we had like 638 or something. So, John, I thought your message about there's like 27,000 residents and only.
Well, that was, somebody put that out.
Oh,
That was-
right,
that
that's
was-
right.
That was, nothing original there.
Oh, okay. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right there.
I think.
So I thought that was an effective post. It was.
Where was that post?
It was emailed to us a couple days ago.
But it was, you said there's a social media.
No, it was
Oh.
like on Mom's Club,
Oh,
Dad's
I'm not
Club,
on any of
Londonderry,
those
and
anymore.
Yeah, I
Londonderry,
know.
New Hampshire.
Because that's,
Okay,
I
I'm
just
not on
copied
those
that
two.
and posted it on a bunch of
Yeah.
things.
Right.
So I'm
Later
sure that'll
on-
cross over.
If you guys want to join me for a beer, I'll tell you how I got into the Moms Club, so.
You won't let me in right now.
So it's definitely effective. So we'll continue going on there. Let's, if you don't mind, let's move on to the ongoing outreach. So I think we touched upon key events and opportunities to highlight. A little bit. So this Saturday we have the Senior
Yes.
Expo.
I do have a sign-up sheet for that in here, if you bear with me just a moment. Okay, so Senior Expo is happening this weekend. And we already have some sign-ups here for, it looks like we're scheduled to set up at 9:30. Thank you, Lynn, for supporting Cam from our team on this. And then it looks like we have Bob following Lynn in terms of staffing the table. Cam will only be able to stay until 11. He has to depart for a wedding in Maine, so he important personal business to attend to. So the one thing we'll be looking for, Bob, if you're comfortable packing up the supplies at the end and bringing them back to the planning department, I
For
think
a slight charge, probably.
for a slight charge.
Um,
All the extra.
Can I ask
candy.
you a favor? Because I meant to ask that question, Mr. Chair. Can you, maybe you already shared this. I haven't been on my town email since Tuesday. Would you mind, are you going to share this? It's already out there?
Yeah, we can make sure we reshare it.
Yeah, because I want to make sure, I don't have my phone on me to put it in my
Absolutely.
calendar.
Yeah.
I have a pickup truck. How much are this? I mean, how?
It's not going to be a lot. There may be table and chairs, or that may be just provided at the senior
I
center.
put it in my
It will
wife's
be.
Tahoe after Old Homes Day. It wasn't bad.
It's going to be like a map, an easel, some
Okay.
chart paper,
And
put
where
in
does it
my-
go to?
the planning department.
Oh, back here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like on Monday or Tuesday or
Yeah, it
something.
doesn't have to go on Saturday.
Okay, no,
just
I
at your
could do that.
convenience.
I have a pickup truck. I mean, and as long as it's not like, $28. It's
It will
fine.
not be overwhelming. And
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
there will
It's
be
fine.
highly
candy to
successful.
hand out. You can keep all the extra candy for yourself. That'll be as your payment.
No, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, great.
I just want to double check that I can do both those time slots. I think it's okay,
Okay.
but I want to double check. I
Okay.
meant to ask that, Mr. Chair, because I saw a mention of a link, and I was like, did I miss the link? The missing link.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
be happy to do that. Sure.
Okay, fantastic. And if, of course, so it looks like we'll have Cam there for 2 hours. So Cam and Lynn will get things rolling and develop the rhythm, and it will not be difficult.
The rhythm.
The rhythm, the magic will happen. If there's anybody else who can stop by and support Lynn for his last hour or Bob for his time slot, we can add those names now.
There might be some IPA bribe or something in that, or. So you guys will not be there for those time slots, just for the first two?
Oh, no, just
for
for the
Southern
first two.
Hampshire.
Cam will be there for the first
Oh,
two.
okay.
Yeah, you would
So
be
I'll
by
be solo.
yourself unless somebody. Unless
Yeah, is
there's
there
a
anyone,
That's fine.
anyone that could volunteer for this Saturday?
Oh, that's fine.
I could probably do the 1 to 2. I'll be flying back in from Virginia Saturday morning, but I'll be back for 1 or 2.
I don't know how busy it's gonna be, but voting actually was manageable, I thought. Granted, I was 5 to 7, and I thought it was manageable by myself.
Yeah.
1 to 5 was fine.
Yeah, just
And where's the, I'm sorry, I'm being stupid here, but where's the fair at,
is
Londonderry
at the
Middle
middle
oh,
school.
middle school, okay, in the gym or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we play pickleball in there, so, okay.
Okay, the middle school.
Look at that. You don't need a pickleball court. You can play it in the
You
gym.
need pickleball, of course, but don't get me started. Don't get me started on
Put it
that.
on the
All the money
survey.
this town spends on other stuff. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, if everyone else could just review their calendars, I have a commitment that day, so I can't be there anymore. But if, yeah, I would greatly appreciate it, and sorry that I'm missing out.
We can send this around again tomorrow. All right.
So newsletter articles and other outreach opportunities, I think, so does, Zen, did you have any kind of,
No, I mean, this was Sylvia's agenda that
Yep.
I kind of got sent. So it sounds like you all have some really good strategy already about reaching out to PTAs, schools, news. I think you already know the answers, so I have no additional offers. We do have a SNHPC media blast that will be going out usually like first week in October. Since if we extend through October 4th, we can put that in as well into the SNHPC newsletter.
Would it be worthwhile to just kind of letter to the editor of the Londonderry Times?
Bingo, I was just gonna say that.
I was just
Bingo.
gonna sign that, or I was just gonna say
Just a
that.
paragraph?
Yeah, the Londonderry Times have been a great partner with kind of,
It doesn't have to
those
be a
articles.
full-blown article, I don't think, but just a
Right.
letter to the editor.
and same with the Dairy News as well.
Yep.
Didn't she mention at the last meeting, she couldn't last week, but maybe, it just came out. So for next week, put the QR code in, because that's, I mean,
She did say that.
she did say that, right?
She did say that.
I don't know if,
Maybe
Yeah.
you could just put the postcard in, that's
Right.
small enough.
Yeah.
Probably more expensive than putting the QR
Letter.
code in.
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I
If you
can
need
reach
a
out to,
graphics file, just let me know, and I could just export the QR code on its own.
I can reach out to Deb about that as well.
You know, you might consider, Mr. Chair, asking them to come to the event on Saturday and take a couple of snaps. You might get a couple of pictures in the paper, too.
I bet they're coming already.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Very
There's
good
a
idea.
sign up at Market Basket, but it's not where I wanted it, so
Much
tried.
appreciated.
It's up, nonetheless.
it's up. I was like, why can't you put it on the door? Well, I'm like, no. Anyway,
Oh, thank you. And I think we talked about the LMS engagement opportunity, but
Oh, yeah, that was a typo. It was Londonderry
at
High
London
School.
High School.
And just so I can close the loop on that when I reach back out to Suzanne tomorrow, it sounds like the preference of the steering committee is to postpone student engagement until we can actually be more strategic about it and integrate it during the focus group process.
I think that's fair.
I agree.
Especially the rec portion.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Great.
I think
And then, lots of opportunities there, seeing the master plan kind of play out. I think it's an excellent learning opportunity, and such like that.
And that would be combined, I think I heard, with an approach to the superintendent to maybe put out something to,
Well, I think that would be later. So the superintendent, I think we can reach out to. I mean, it's a quick email saying, "Hey, can
Yeah.
you send this, please?"
Which would actually be targeting parents.
right.
Targeting parents. The PTA I was going to say earlier, they don't well, not for Matthew Thornton or the high school or the middle school, they don't tend to send out, all their communication has to go through the principal anyways.
Yeah.
So we could target them
Yep.
through groups, but just as, I don't know how it was before, but they don't send stuff out to us. Everything that comes out to parents always has to get approved by somebody. So just, if we went to them, they'd be going to the principals, which I think you said you already met with a few of them anyway. So,
I just want to say the South School has an excellent PTA.
so does Matthew Thornton and the high school, I think.
Anything else? That's it for the agenda.
Quick question. Could you update this on Monday, the little 8-page presentation you gave today with just current numbers and statistics by
Oh.
chance?
That'd be awesome.
We
That'd
have
be
a,
So I missed most of it.
the chair of the town council had asked me to come to the council meeting and discuss the master plan. I would encourage everybody to come.
Which day is this?
Monday.
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 Yeah.
My
So
vacation, but I'll-
it would be nice if we had it as up to date as we could for our conversation with the council. I think it's really important to have the most up to date
Sure.
numbers as we can for our conversation with them.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what time would you need it by?
7 p.m.
Okay, you got it.
6 would be nice.
I will, no, I'm gonna, if it's okay with
Let's walk
you,
in there blindly.
I will, what we've found, especially, you know, since Sylvia's the primary point of contact at SNHBC, I typically send everything to Jeff, Mike, and Alicia to make sure that you all know who everyone is, and you're gonna make sure it gets distributed properly. So I will, by probably mid-afternoon, I'll send that out to you.
Excellent. And Jake, are you looking for the present, like, the other content? What about the profile of users? I think that would. probably
Yeah,
also good.
you know, this whole 8
Those
pages
charts.
here just updated. So what we're looking at today, but with, you know, hopefully it'll say 2,000 by Monday.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and have, you know, just as up to date of a statistic as we can on, you know, who's responded, where are they responding from, are they residents of Londonderry, and how old are they?
I think that would be great.
That sounds good. It's now that I have done the layout, it's very easy to just pop in new numbers.
Yeah.
It's no problem at
So
all.
thank you very much for that. I think
Yeah.
it'll help out a bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would encourage everybody to come.
Yeah.
I think the council has a couple questions, and hopefully we can answer them. So
Will those charts go to everyone on this committee
Yes.
that you're talking about? Okay,
I'll
good.
make sure, we usually ask Alicia to do the distribution.
yeah.
Okay,
That's all right. So it will come from her.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
There was a discussion, I believe, at the town council meeting about utilizing current land use, zoning, et cetera, things to impact traffic growth, some of the things that were covered in the
Right.
survey.
Yep.
And it sounded like the town manager did some research, and there are some things. It might be, as long as you're giving them, Jake, some feedback on what's going on here, it might not be a bad idea to figure out where their heads are at in terms of
Absolutely.
what's going on there.
Absolutely. I think the timing's good on it, you know?
Yes.
Everything seems to kind of be coming together around the same time right now. So I think the timing on it is good, and I think it'll put everybody in a positive direction, so.
All right. Is there anything else? Anything from the public?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Rugg, how are
Art
you?
Rugg, 11 Pine Hollow Drive, Vice Chair of the Planning Board. And I have to say, I think you're doing a terrific job. Most of the effort for master planning is getting the data in, getting people's opinion, because that's what drives it. And I know on the 2004 master plan, we had several focus groups. One was with high school students. And the focus groups, they varied between 40, 50, 60 people. I think one of them we had. There's a lot of good information because people talk. You know, we're in, different groups, and each like member of the steering committee or planning board would kind of like get conversation growing, and that's where a lot of the ideas came out of. So it is well recommended, and I think you're doing good. Having over 1,000 responses is fantastic, because I don't recall having any responses of that number from previous ones, so, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Art.
You're welcome. Well, I'm still part of it too, so.
Well, if there's nothing else,
When's our next meeting?
next meeting is 2 weeks from today, which is October 3rd. So right before the survey closes, we will meet and we will have 2,000 respondents to review. So get
Will
on.
we be in this room
Question for you,
again?
Mr. Chair.
As far as we know, yes, unless there's another priority, unless there's another conflict.
Would it be worth, and this just actually might not even be enough time for staff, would it be worth having the meeting on the 10th as opposed to the 3rd? Whereas that would then be after, that'd be after the closing of the survey, so maybe they would have a little bit of data for us? Because theoretically, we would be
Yeah,
waiting
then we
until
would to the 17th.
So is it worth skipping the week and doing the 10th in hopes that we have a little bit more data
Yeah,
from staff based off of the survey?
that's a great point, actually, Jake. Yeah, and then potentially actually moving it completely the 10th and the 24th.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so let's from a board
Then I won't be
perspective.
all anxious, because then I'll be waiting 2 weeks to find out what the results are.
That makes sense. to me.
Yeah, that's a great point. So is there anyone opposed to moving
I
the date?
may not be able to be here
I don't
then,
have my
but
phone, so I don't
don't.
know. I think I'm okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
so
we'll plan on the 10th.
What the night is the
October
9th?
10th and October 24th. We'll work with
When's our
town
next
staff
policy
to
meeting?
reserve those rooms. We will not
You can look at
meet meeting on the 3rd
That won't help.
and the 17th. We will not be meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So the meeting's the 3rd.
Anything else?
Second or 3rd, whatever.
All right. Do I have
Chair,
a,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. All right, thank you all.